All right, earlier this year, the Biden administration, and I know this is no surprise to many of you, but they hijacked the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act. Now, this was a law that was passed for the purpose of protecting mothers and encouraging healthy pregnancies. But the Biden administration comes along and hijacks it in order to promote abortion, just the opposite of what it was intended to do. But the new rules that have been implemented by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission now literally force employers to grant accommodations for employees to get abortions. Well, in response of all of this, there's a group of 17 Republican attorney generals who have sued the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And joining me now to discuss this is one of those leaders, great Attorney General from Alabama, Steve Marshall. Attorney General Marshall, welcome back to the program. Great to have you.
Good to see you, Jody. Thank you very much.
Well, listen, thank you for your leadership and that of the others of you. Let's talk about, though, the Biden administration, frankly, has just turned this law on its head to represent literally just the opposite of what it was intended. Are you going to be able to demonstrate that in this lawsuit, do you think?
Yeah, Jody, I think it's abundantly clear. I mean, look, this is a wonderful bill, bipartisan support, and we don't say that very often with things that come out of Washington, to make sure that we accommodate pregnant women in the workplace because we want to have healthy pregnancies and children that come to birth. And so Congress designed this idea that let's make sure that we fill a gap in federal law to ensure that pregnant women have those accommodations they need, extra bathroom breaks, for example, or if you have to sit on a stool and to be able to do your work, that we're acknowledging your pregnancy, want you in the workplace, but we also want you to be safe. And now the EEOC that was tasked by Congress to come out with some very specific aspects of what that looks like, now want to make sure that states like Alabama would have to violate state law to somehow or another accommodate a woman who wants an abortion. Alabama's not going to stand for that, along with the 17 other states that are a part of this coalition.
Well, thank you so much for standing up. I mean, this is such a brazen repeal of the intent of this law. It's just offensive in every way. And as you said, this was bipartisan. Abortion was not even mentioned in this bill when it was passed. It was all about helping pregnant women and helping them have a healthy pregnancy. How has this change of the rule from the EEOC affected employers in your state of Alabama?
Well, it hasn't affected them yet because we're just now seeing it come to pass. But the aggressive action of me and my colleagues in being able to seek an injunction of this, I think will be important, and do not expect in the long term that this is going to be impactful. But Jody, back to your prior point, one of the Democratic sponsors of this bill made it very clear on the floor of the Senate that this bill had nothing to do with abortion, assured his colleagues on both sides of the aisle the intention of this bill. And yet, despite its clear language, what we see is Biden administration co-opting a valid, appropriate law to be able to enforce this pro-abortion agenda. I know we shouldn't be surprised, but it's one of the reasons why I'm so proud of my colleagues across the country on many pro-life issues, because we're standing in that gap that we need in this country to make sure that we can push back on an administration that's just simply gone too far.
Yeah, you are pushing back, and all of us say a huge thank you, sincerely, and with as much heartfelt gratitude that we possibly can, because this is just, you know, the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission. This is not comprised of elected people. I mean, is it fair to say that this the whole thing's just unconstitutional? I guess would be my question.
No, absolutely, and on multiple grounds that are included in our complaint. This is an unelected, unaccountable group. And let's acknowledge it was a 3-2 vote. So it wasn't as if the entire commission voted to be able to do this. But this was the liberal portion of that panel that decided to embark on this effort. But again, we've seen this on multiple fronts with this administration, whether it be attacking pro-life states like Alabama. We've seen it with this radical gender ideology that's being pushed through multiple federal programs. It's why uniquely attorneys general in this important time in our nation have the opportunity to be able to hold in check. And what we see also with this particular rule is an effort to impose a federal policy of this administration on a state like Alabama, whose law is abundantly clear that we are a pro-life state in our Constitution. We've made it a criminal offense outside of limited exceptions to be able to have an elective abortion, and to somehow or another use an unaccountable body like the EEOC to circumvent valid state law and constitutional provisions. We think we're on solid legal footing to be able to push back and to win.
So we've got about 30 seconds here. So are you saying that you're anticipating a win when all is said and done in this?
Absolutely anticipating a win. It may not get here as quickly as we want. The key right now is attempting to get that initial injunctive relief to be able to hold this rule in abeyance before its full implementation. But we feel very confident about the work of our colleagues, grateful for the efforts of Tennessee and Oklahoma to lead this charge, but do feel strongly that we're going to prevail.
That's awesome. Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall, can't thank you enough. We're grateful for all the work you and your colleagues are doing. And thank you for joining us this evening on Washington Watch.
Thank you.